Hey, everybody. Welcome to the First Step Podcast. My name is Kevin, as always, and it's time to lock in here. We've got 16 teams left in the dance. The Sweet 16 is absolutely loaded this year. No double digits, no mid-major teams. They're lurking around, just the best of the best. We also got Arkansas there, but we're not going to judge them too bad. Don't let these seeds fool you, though. We've got storylines, betting angles, revenge games, red hot teams, and of course, we've got classic coaches here in the tournament. Calipari being an underdog for the third straight game. There's so much stuff going on this March Madness. It's so exciting. We're going to break down each region, team by team, matchup by matchup, and mix in all our favorite bets. You know exactly what to do. Make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe. Thank you for joining us.
This is First Step.
All right, everybody. We've got the one, the only, the man with the mission. We've got our boy, Chucky Hoops.
How we doing, Kev?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Left. Let's go. I'm good, man.
Hey,
Refreshed.
16 teams
Got a
left, and
little
there's one that's close to your heart, buddy. How are we feeling?
I'm nervous as hell. I just think our path is every game is just excruciating,
I
tough
know.
to watch. But
It's super
hey,
exciting.
there's nothing like a team on a run. And when you make a Sweet 16, you're on a run.
Listen, it's a miracle you guys are there. It's a blessing you guys are there. Take it, enjoy it, bask in it. There's so many teams in college basketball. To be one of the top 16 in the country, it is a feat all in itself. So enjoy it. Listen,
I appreciate that.
let's go through all these games. I know you're excited. I bet you're even more excited than I am about college basketball. This is a hell of a Sweet 16. I say we start here in the East. Thursday game, Duke versus Arizona. Duke is absolutely on fire. They ran Baylor right out of the gym. The Tyrese Proctor dropped 25. Cooper Flag gave you 18, 9, and 6 and looked completely healthy. That ankle looks completely fine. Also worth noting, they're 25-0 straight up as double-digit favorites this season. 17-8 against the spread in those games. 6-2 against the Shire. 6-2 in the tournament as a head coach. This is an incredible Duke team. Arizona has been scrappy. They came back against Oregon. They covered versus Agron, but they're 5-16-1 against the spread in March Madness since 2014. That's the worst team in this round. Right now, they're getting at 8.5 spread here. That's the biggest spread in the tournament in the game since 2011. Team players I like here, a lot of Caleb Love. We know that Duke history here. He torched him in 2022 with UNC, dropped 29 versus Oregon, but he's also had some clunkers on this round before. So how are you feeling about this game? What do you like? Duke, Arizona, what are you feeling is your favorite bet? Talk to me.
I got to touch on a little bit what you got to there, which is Caleb Love versus Duke. That's the storyline in
That's
this
absolutely
matchup.
the storyline.
He ended Coach K's career. He ended Paolo Banchero and that great Duke team in their Coach K's final home game, Coach K in the ACC tournament, and then again in the Final Four. So I think if there's anyone that Duke fans don't want to see ever again is Caleb Love.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Caleb Love, I don't think he has enough firepower to take down this Duke team that's just on fire. I do think they're beatable. It's going to take a lot. This Arizona team, for the first time, I think in a long time, we talked about how coming into the tournament, they were actually playing well. They didn't feel like a team that was waning, but actually starting to reach their peak. And I think you've seen that in the last two games. They're, unfortunately for them, just running to an absolute juggernaut right now in Duke. I think my favorite bet in this game is I lean to the over. I think Duke hasn't played firepower like this in a while defensively, and even though their defense is incredible, I do think it'll be a little more up and down than we see most Duke games. And I think you'll see a Duke offense be really successful, but I think you'll also see Arizona keep up for a bit, even if I would lean to Duke covering that spread and winning by low double digits.
Absolutely. That's where I'm leaning to. Duke, I got Duke at 8.5. I like the over here. I don't think Arizona's covered a back-to-back tournament game since 1991. So I'm leaning
This
Duke
one's
here.
different. This team's different.
This team is different. But this Duke team is something impressive. Also very different.
Yeah, that's
very different team. This team is dominating, doing really well this tournament, has been doing well all season long. Cooper Flag looks incredible. There's conversations. Is he going to be an NBA player? Is he not? Where does he fit in? I'm just here for the ride. I think he's a great player. I love what I'm seeing. I don't know how he's going to do in the NBA. I have to see that straight up. I have to see how he plays against those NBA players. We're talking about grown-ass men. This kid is barely holding on to 18. Like, he's just not quite there in my eyes. We have to see him develop a lot. But I like this Duke team a lot. I think this Duke team is incredible. The Caleb Love story is phenomenal. I think it's really fun to see him, what he could do against Duke again this year. But yeah, So you like the over there. I like the 8.5 spread covering Duke. Let's do it. I like it. Alabama versus BYU, arguably the best game this week for sure. This one's going to be a track meet. I think that opened at 175.5, and that's like an incredible over. That's high scoring all the way around. Bama just handles St. Mary's. Natos is now 3-0 against the spread in the game, in games with a total of 170 plus or more. BYU, though, their momentum is absolutely real. Kevin Young has them rolling. Richie Saunders is averaging 19, almost 19 and a half points per game, shooting 43% from the deep in his last 11. And Igor is an absolute beast, man. I like Demon here with 8 assists and 1 turnover versus Wisconsin, but I think he's going to handle Alabama's pressure. I think that's the key. I think if he gets going, it'll be a lot of fun to see BYU. I like here BYU at 5.5 against Alabama. We talked about Alabama early. Alabama was my favorite team this season. I thought they were going to do incredible. Obviously, Mark Sears is an absolute beast. But this BYU team is special, man. I like them. I like how they're playing. They're getting hot when they're supposed to. Give me BYU at 5.5. How do you feel about this game?
I mean, I think this is the funnest matchup. I'm with you on BYU 5.5. I like this Alabama team. I think they do really well against. They don't lose games against bad competition. I think a lot of people are fading them to not get to the Sweet 16. I thought they were a lock just because of how they play, and they're just so tough to match if you don't have the guns to stick up with them. But I think BYU does. Like BYU since February 8th, so that's over a month of basketball. If you look at their Bart Torvik rating, just looking at like how good they are, they're the seventh best team in college basketball right now. I
Yeah.
think 5.5 is too much. One thing I'm hoping for is I think one of the storylines of this past weekend, not just the no upsets, not just only 4 conferences making it to Sweet 16, but I think it was just the overinflated basketballs and the tight rims that were causing a lot of unders to hit. I think
Yeah.
sharp bettors were able to catch that. I'm really hoping this game doesn't have that. I don't know if I'm going to touch the over under until I get a little more look at what those newer
175 is a
courts are
lot.
looking like when that
175
what
is a
that
lot.
yeah, but if anyone hits it, it's Alabama. They play
Yeah,
the
yeah,
number one
yeah.
tempo in the country. BYU's got an incredible offense. Kevin Young's a great coach. Like I said, they're the seventh best team in college basketball since early February. But I'm really hoping they got the basketball at the right inflation. It's ready to go, and then we could see absolute fireworks in that game. I don't know how much I'll be able to watch that game, even with 2 TVs, because I'll be locked into that Florida Maryland game that's happening at the same time. But definitely a situation where you want 2 TVs because that's 4 of the most fun teams to watch in the country.
Yeah, let's go straight into it. Florida versus Maryland. San Francisco, Thursday. How are your boys? I don't even want to know facts. Dude. How are the boys feeling? How's Florida Gator Nation doing?
I think everyone's just a sigh of relief that we made it.
Yeah.
32 wins, a Sweet 16. It's SC Championship has been an incredible season, but no one wants it to end. We want to. I hope I'm able to make it out to San Antonio and see this Gator team out there, see a bunch of my friends out there, and get to run the Gators in the Final Four. But we're gonna have 2 incredibly tough games before we even have a chance of getting there. And it starts with Maryland, who I think is an especially tough matchup for Florida. You're talking about the top scoring starting 5 in the country. I think their front court is a unique front court that can present problems to Florida. I think you saw UConn actually use some of our front court effectiveness and rebounding against us and really game plan well. And Kevin Willard's a hell of a coach who'll know how to use his lineup effectively. This is a team that I've been all year had a top 10 team. I think you see the 4 seed, 8 losses, and you think it was good but not great team. Those 8 losses, the biggest loss they had all year was by 6. They've lost by 3 buzzer beaters, which they got some revenge in last week. But this is not a team to be taken lightly. They're number 10 in Ken Palm. I think that they're a top 10 team as well. It's going to be an incredibly tough game for Florida. I think Florida's better. I think we will go into this game expecting to win. It's if we play like we did against UConn, I don't think Florida gets out. I hope that was a wake up call. I think a lot of people see a tough game like that and think it's automatically a positive. I see it honestly more as a negative. I know you survive, and that's what it's about in March. But we're going to have to really find a groove and play a lot better than we did last week.
Elijah Martin, been a star of this tournament, averaging over 15 points a game since the SEC tourney. Florida's offense has been explosive. They've got the size. They look good. I like them a lot. I like Maryland here to cover at 6.5. Florida has yet to cover a spread this entire tournament.
It's 2 games. Who
Well,
cares?
they haven't covered. They haven't covered. They're 0-2. Last time an 0-2 team has won the national to cover the spread that started off to win the
Ooh.
national championship. 1997, Arizona. It's been a hot minute.
Wow.
Give me
Miles Simon.
Maryland. Yeah, give me Maryland. Give at 6.5. Maybe a second half against the spread as well. I don't know. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun little watch. But yeah, absolutely. Florida, Maryland, BYU, Alabama are two of the best games that are going on. Unfortunately, at the same exact time, but I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Arkansas, arguably probably the worst team in the Sweet 16. Not a bad team, definitely the worst team in the Sweet 16. Calipari, though, we get to see him as an underdog for the third straight game. Hasn't happened before. This guy was a Kentucky darling for years. I think he was there for 15 years, something like that. So 2009 to 24, something like that. Yeah, so 15 years, 14 years, whatever, however long the season takes. Texas Tech is getting super hot. JT Toppin is averaging almost 23 points per game over the last month and is a problem inside and out. McCaslin's teams are always well prepared defensively. I'm super excited for this. Watch Boogie Fland. He's back from injury in Arkansas. Little rusty. He went 4 for 15 shooting so far in the tourney. But I like Arkansas here at 5.5. How do you feel about this game, bud?
Texas Tech is a team I've loved all year. I think they're a real national title contender. When I talked about Florida's path being tough, I think a big part of it is this Texas Tech team that I think could absolutely win it all, even though we talked about it pre-tourney. I know their brand isn't one. Grant McCaskin isn't a household name. JT Toppin, even though he's an All-American, not necessarily everyone knows him. We're talking about one of the best players in the country, the second highest usage rate next left, second highest shot percentage yet. They're going to rely on him more than just about anyone else relies on any player that's left in this tournament. But man, they're real. I know they're still banged up. I don't think we've seen the best version of Texas Tech, but I do think that they'll beat and cover Arkansas on Thursday and set up a match with either Florida or Maryland that I think will be just one of the games of the tournament in the Elite Eight. No matter which team it is that Saturday, I'll be really sad if it's Maryland. I'm not gonna lie, but I look, and that's not to take away from Arkansas. They're playing incredible basketball. They're
Yeah.
really found a confidence that they haven't played with all year. I saw them when they came down here to Miami. Went to the game there at whatever the U arena is called now, and they really struggled with the U game. They really struggled with the U team that just was not very good, and they've come so far from where they were in December and January. And they look like a team that deserves to be in the Sweet 16. Unfortunately, I do think Texas Tech is going to be too much.
We'll see, man. We talked about it. Coaching matters in the tournament. So we'll see. Calipari's got all the history in the world here. Let's see what he does.
I think Grant McCaslin is one of the best coaches in America. Better,
Also,
I'll take him over Calipari in a second, no
okay,
doubt.
so let's go to Friday. Houston, Purdue. Houston barely got by Gonzaga. They've now allowed 70 plus points in back-to-back games for the first time all season. Samson teams are 14-3. After that happens, Purdue looks solid, but the deeper this tourney goes, the worse Matt Painter performs against the spread. He's 22-7 against the spread. Rounds 1 and 2, but just 3-7 against the spread in Sweet 16 and beyond. I like Jawan Roberts here, 18-8 versus Gonzaga. Now faces Purdue, a team ranked dead last in Big Ten in 2 points defense. Give me Purdue at +8, man. I think Purdue, this post Zach Edey Purdue has something to prove. I like Purdue here just to cover. I don't think they'll win it. Houston's a great team, but I do Purdue to cover here. How do you feel about this one?
I don't think Purdue covers. That's not my favorite bet in this game. My favorite is the over at 132.5. I
Okay.
think one thing Purdue has is a really good efficient offense, but that defense is just not great. And I think this Houston offense will be able to torch them a bit, even though we don't think of Houston that type of team, and they still are slow. We're talking about the longest win streak in the nation. I know that people see a 5-point win by Houston and a much bigger win by Duke. I think Gonzaga is miles better than who any other one seed played. So I'm just as impressed with Houston's 5-point win over Gonzaga as I was Duke's win over Baylor. So I think Houston's an absolute live national title contender. I'm gonna probably bet the over and not end up touching the spread. I like Houston to cover as well. It seems like you're big on the dogs this weekend.
I am. I'm a dog
All
guy.
these underdogs. Hey,
I am a dog guy
big
today.
big dog guy.
I'm a
I
dog
like
guy
it.
today. You know what I'm saying? Tennessee versus Kentucky. Third meeting the time these guys have met. Kentucky won the first two, both as an underdog. They're the dog again this time. Rick Barnes is 6-18 against the spread in the tourney since 2010. Worst of any coach in the last 20 years. Tennessee's guards have looked great. What's this guy's name? Chaz dropped 49 points combined last weekend, but he struggled versus Kentucky this season just for 3-10 and 0-7 from the deep. Over is 11-2 in the Sweet 16 games. between conference rivals. I like
Wow,
Kentucky.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I
I
like
like that. I
Kentucky
like
here.
that.
The other under at 4.5, man. Give me the over. I like the 4.5 spread and give me the over at 148.5. I think that's a fun little bet for this game. How do you feel about it?
I don't put much stock into that 2-0 record that Kentucky has against Tennessee. I just don't care. I don't think Owe's going to go off for 30 again like he did, but I think
Sure.
Kentucky's absolutely live in this game. I like the over, like you said. I lean there. I think Kentucky's best chance is to go off and really make this high scoring. The two times they met, they would have covered this over pretty easily. So I think that it makes sense. Oh, actually, no, the second game didn't go over. This game, the first one did.
Well,
That's interesting. Looking at it, but regardless, I think I like Tennessee to cover is my favorite bet in this game. -4.5. I think Tennessee is playing really well, even
so
though
we're
they're
on
0-2
opposite side.
against this
We're on
Kentucky
opposite
team.
sides of the spread. Same on the over.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting. I like Kentucky a lot, man. I think Kentucky's getting hot right at the right time.
I don't disagree. I
Yeah,
don't disagree.
they're playing great, man. All right, Michigan, Auburn. Michigan is 13-1 in games decided by 5 points or fewer. Clutch gene has been activated for him. Auburn is dominant versus Big Ten teams lately, 6-0 since 2020, but Bruce Pearl has never covered back-to-back as a favorite in the tournament. Chad Baker, Mazzara has a super high ceiling, has a very low floor. If he's on, Auburn rolls. Give me Michigan at +9. Yeah, that's my favorite bet for sure. Michigan at
I,
+9. How you doing?
Janai Broom versus two 7-footers. Give me Michigan +9. I love how they're playing. They're
Yeah.
the team I was hating all year, but it just seems to have come together really nicely. Dusty May versus Pearl is a good match, is a great matchup. And I honestly, I just want to root for it feels like good versus evil. I can't stand this Auburn team. Janai Broom and Chad Baker Mazar are just one of the most annoying, hard to root for, I think, tandems in the country.
Yeah.
And I don't think Michigan does the upset, but I would love to see it. Not gonna lie.
I would love to see it. I also do think, though, I really do think Janai Broom is going to be a great NBA player. You watch it. I'm going to call it now. I think he's incredible
I mean,
talent.
coach, he's 30. The freaking Auburn team is so old.
It's true. It's true. But I think he's good, man. He's got skills. All right. Michigan State, Ole Miss. This is our last game. Did I miss one? No, this is our last game. Michigan State versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss finally found their rhythm. Chris Beard is 8-1 against the spread. 3 over days of prep in March. But I like Helleman here. He's 4 of the last 5 in double digits. Spark plug. Loved watching him. I like Michigan State here at 3.5 to cover. I think this is the only one non-underdog bet that I have, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
I feel
Mich-
like you like that plus all day.
Yeah, I like this Michigan State. I like this Michigan State team a lot. You talked about a little bit last week about how much you think they're going to do well this tournament. I think they showed that they're playing really well. I just don't think Ole Miss has it. Maybe you could do like a first half under total in this game too. These guys are slow starters and the defensive grind at the beginning. That could be a fun little bet. Maybe even the under at 130. I have it on at 133.5. I don't know where it is at now. 133.5. Yeah, that's what I have it. That's also a fun little bet for the total. But how do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I honestly think my favorite bet is Ole Miss first half. Like you mentioned, Michigan State started slow. I think it's gonna be a really close game. This Michigan State team is really fun to root for, really balanced. I love Jace Richardson, went to Columbus, where I went to high school, so it's really cool to see him flourish at that level. Like you said, Michigan State has a lot of guards, a lot of guys who could step up and do a lot, but it does seem like no one seems to be stepping up in those first 10 minutes. They struggled against Bryant. They struggled last game as well in the first 10 minutes. But ultimately, I do think they'll win a very close game. 3.5. I guess I would lean Michigan State, but I almost like Ole Miss to cover that first half spread more, maybe even money line. And this is a game I think is going to be. I don't know if it'll be the funnest to watch, but it'll be probably the tightest game of the weekend, and I think the hardest to call of the Sweet 16.
Sure. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Before I let you go. So that was their entire tournament. I think that was a lot of fun. We hit up I think there's a lot of good bets there, a lot of great games. We talked about it. One thing I want to say, this is a Sweet 16. We don't really have a Cinderella story here, right? There's no double digit seeds, no mid majors. First time since 2007.
Arkansas should be a 10, right?
Were they a 10?
Yeah, they should be. Yeah, they're a 10.
Okay.
I mean, it's
I mean, come on.
Calipari with a $5 million NIL budget. I don't know if we can call that a
Yeah.
Cinderella. Like, I don't.
Exactly. I'm saying like the classics, like when we had FAU, when we had these teams that like you really don't know where they come from. When Butler had that run, that first run that they did, that you're like, where did this team come? Who is this team? It's so much fun. But do you think this is a result of the NIL transfer portal? Are we gonna lose a Cinderella team to win? Like,
I don't really think so. I think it's honestly more variance and luck than anything. Michigan's in the Sweet 16 and they beat UC San Diego by 3 points. That could have easily gone the other way. Drake had a great chance to make the Sweet 16. I think it's more a little bit of luck. I do think by happenstance, I don't know if we can really blame it on NIL when just 2 years, there's been NIL for 3 years and we've seen tourney runs by double digit seeds and mid major Cinderellas. So I think we'd have to see more than 1 year of evidence to just be able to say that flatly. I think it's a little premature to just pin it all on that. But I do think it's something to monitor. I do wish there was more, a little. I think having more chalk has led to some great matchups and really fun things to look forward to.
yeah,
I do a mix of variety. I think everyone wants that team to come out of nowhere with new names and new chance to like root for someone you've never heard of, and all of a sudden she becomes your favorite player. These Jack Bulkies and never leave your memory. This tournament hasn't really provided that, but that doesn't mean that I think these 16 teams aren't going to put on a show these final games.
awesome. I agree with you, man. Also, I think like Cinderella's there, right? Like you just said it, Arkansas. You know that this was a team that was completely counted out in January. Granted, they have all the funding in the world and they have a great coach behind them, but this is a team that no one really thought was going to have a chance just a few months ago. Is a Cinderella story, is classic Cinderella story? No, maybe she's just wearing a different dress. SEC has been a story. Like you have teams, what only two teams in the SEC didn't make it to didn't get a bid this year. What
No,
was
no,
it?
yeah, yeah. Two didn't make it, and half of them, half that did make it, are in the Sweet 16, which is insane.
Insane. Like it's just that they're wearing SEC colors. You know, that's what Cinderella's wearing. It's a SEC colored prom is what we're doing here, or Sweet 16.
I got a question for you. I
Yeah,
got a question for you. Who do you think wins the national title right now?
Duke right now. It's
Duke?
I like Duke
What about
Hughes.
would you take them? Would you take them at the 225 odds, or do you prefer like Houston at 475, or even like
I was about to
Texas Tech
say
and
I was
Tennessee?
I was just about to say I was gonna do favorite is Duke. Obviously, I think they're the best team in the
Yeah,
country. I love Houston odds at 475. Tennessee is super enticing there as well.
yeah,
Uh
17 and a half just feels like too much.
Yeah, but I think it would be like Duke as almost like it's like betting on Scotty Scheffler. You're probably not going to lose that bet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but then you have Houston's I think is a really good value, and Tennessee is would be my long shot. What's Florida at right now? Like at four something?
Three to one, three to
Yeah,
one. I just don't think
yeah,
there's enough value there to.
yeah, exactly. But those would be if I was putting money down. If I don't really like future bets, but if I was doing those, it would be those three. It would be Duke, Houston, and Tennessee. What about you?
I think Houston is the best team. That'd be my pick, but very even with Duke and Florida. I think all three teams are tier in their own. And then I think Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama,
Yeah,
Texas Tech, Maryland are in that next year that I put together. Like I would put all those teams together that I think could absolutely still cut nets and do something great.
when I was filling out my bracket right before the games, it was really hard for me because I kept going through the bracket and I kept getting the first
Yeah,
I kept getting four first
too
seeds.
much shock. Too much. Yeah,
It
too
was
much shock.
it got me nervous. But to be fair, like it's a total possibility we're gonna see all these four teams duking it out in the final four. I think you told me last week, right? Like where they are historically, how much they're doing better is light years what they normally are, right? Like the top five teams in the nation are out shooting everybody else by a certain percentage, right?
Yeah, so if you look at like the top four teams in 2025 right now, Auburn is fourth on Ken Palm, and they're 34.95 points better than the average team. So just 2025, they're about 35 points better than the average team. Just 2 years ago, when UConn won the national title, they ended up the number one team in Ken Palm, and they weren't even 30 points better than the average team. So we're talking about four teams that are 5 points better than that. So I think you do see a more spread out league, kind of the opposite of what we saw in college basketball this year. I still don't expect all four ones to make it. I think
In
that's
college football
unlikely. But
this year.
in college basketball, I think it's unlikely we see all four one seeds make it to the Final Four, but it's likelier than pretty much any other year. I think we just see more separation between those top teams and the rest of college basketball than we usually see.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And I really do think that it's something to do with these NIL transfer portal things. Maybe players that might have gone to the NBA and to the G leagues and stuff like that are staying years longer. The teams are getting better. I don't know. There's something there. I think it's it.
I think one, yeah, I think one aspect of it is actually the COVID year. I think the COVID year combined with NIL and transfer portal just made it weird. Like
Yeah,
you have these guys who would never be in college, never have the chance, and it's just made scholarships weird. It's made how people approach scholarships different. I think in the next year or two, I think you'll see things calm down a little more in that respect, and you won't see these 6-year seniors that are 26 years old,
true.
what it feels like we see on a lot of these teams.
True. All right, that is our Sweet 16 breakdown. Chucky Hoops, thank you so much. As always, you are my college basketball, technically, at this point, you're a college expert. You're just an expert in colleges. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys follow us, hit that like button on YouTube. Make sure you guys comment. Go us on TikTok, on IG. Make sure you check out. I'm going to put little things right here so you can check out all of our merch for the Masters. It's coming up. Me and Hav are going deep into the Masters this year. Chucky Hoops, if you want to come on, you let me know. We're going to be talking Masters like crazy. Remember, I'm going to the Masters this year, folks. First step is going for 2 days. We're technically 3 days, but 2 days we're going to the actual tournament. We'll be there the entire time. Maybe I'll do something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't bring in a camera, but I'm gonna do something. I have to do something while I'm there, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know. Look, make sure you guys tail us on all these bets. I know that I had a very fun weekend. I know Chucky went up, or he went down, and then he went way up. So good for Chucky. I stayed more consistent. I made some and then made some. I didn't lose money, which is great. Make sure you guys check out all of our videos. We got some new videos coming out with some of those, what are they called? These betting gurus. They've been an absolute disaster for me. Make sure you guys check out those videos. Make sure you guys tail smart, shop the lines, let the madness continue. Thank you guys so much.
Go Gators.
Oh boy. Every
Go
time.
Gators.
Have a good one. Bye.